Hi everyone, time for another yoga class. It's been a bit of a break. This is take 2. I had 3 dogs join me for the first take, which didn't really work. This is going to be a standing class and will be followed by a floor class, and just building on some of the exercises in the earlier classes that I've recorded. So we'll just do some breath work to start with. So standing up, sit yourself up, take your feet so they're about hip width distance apart. Take the weight back into the heels, drop the shoulders back, put the scoop in the lower back, keep that ribcage tucked under. Just gently lift through the back of the head, taking the arms down either side of the body. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Relax, and we're going to start with that sit breath in. So take a breath in. Squeeze the hands, squeeze the glutes, pretend there's something between your legs maybe, and release. And again, sit breath in. Contract and squeeze, and release. And sit breath in. Contract and squeeze, and release. And sit breath in. Contract and squeeze, and release. Breathe in, contract and squeeze, and release. With this breath, we're trying to get the ribcage moving in and out, get that diaphragm moving. So if it's useful, put your hands up around the ribcage, make sure the shoulders aren't lifting when you're doing the breath work, and really focus that breath and see if you can get that ribcage to unlock. They can be quite jammed, the muscles aren't used to being worked. And see if you can notice it moving in and out. So we'll do a few sets here. Again, sit breath in, contract and squeeze the shoulder blades, and release. Keep the height and length in the midsection. Sit breath in, squeeze, and release. And again, sit breath in, squeeze, and release. And sit breath in, squeeze, and release. So this breath is good to do every day. As soon as you get out of bed, put those feet on the floor, take a few breaths, and maybe set yourself up for the day. Stand and do, I don't know, maybe 3 sets of 5 of the breath in and out. Just get those muscles working around that diaphragm. Really good for you. Get that blood circulating. Okay, we're going to do similar move, but we're going to be lying on mats or whatever you are lying on the floor. And this is the only pose that where we're lying down, we have both legs straight, only time we do. The body's in complete alignment when you're lying flat on the ground with your head and your shoulders resting against the floor and your legs out straight. I'm going to flip the phone around so you've got a full shot. You can see what I'm doing. Okay. So knees bent, rolling down. Take weight on the head, tuck those shoulders under, straighten those legs. Take the hands down either side, fingers wide, palms are facing up, back of the hands, push them into the mat. That just helps connect the body to the floor. And we're going to do that sit breath again. So sit breath in. Squeeze those fingers tight. Feel like you're pulling the arms into the shoulders. And then release. You can point your toes if you want. Sit breath in. Squeeze, point the toes, and release. And again, sit breath in. Contract, squeeze, and release. Get that scoop in the lower back while you're here as well. You should be able to pass the hand under that lower back. There should be a gap there. Sit breath in. Squeeze, and release. And again, sit breath in. Squeeze, and release. One more, sit breath in. Squeeze, and release. Okay, we do the leg raises. So with this one, we want to bend the left knee, keep the right leg straight. We're going to, as we're breathing in, lift that leg up in the air and then lower it down, and lift it up in the air, then lower it down, and then I'll give you a couple of sets of just an extension on this exercise. So sit breath in, lift that leg in the air, point the toes, squeeze, release the toes and lie down. My left leg slightly off on an angle, and sit breath in, lift that right leg up, point the toes, contract, squeeze and release. And again, sit breath in, lift that leg up, point the toes, squeeze and release. The next one, what we're going to do is we are going to lift the leg up and lift it up and down a few times. So hopefully you can see my leg a little bit better now. So I'll demonstrate. I'm going to sit breath in, lift the leg up, squeeze, and then I'm going to lift that leg up and down in the air a few times and then release the toes and lower down. So when you're ready, we'll do 4 of this one as well on the side. So sit breath up, lift that leg up and down through the air 3 or 4 times, squeeze and then release. And again, sit breath up, squeeze and then release. Sit breath up, hold, squeeze and then release. And one more, sit breath up, point the toes, squeeze and release. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging, the idea is to keep the leg off the floor and sit breath up, squeeze, and when you release, you keep the leg off the floor. If you're doing this, you want to make sure those hips don't roll though, that you're still quite even on the ground. So maybe try that one after you've done a few sets and you've got used to it. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to do 2 sets again. I've got this right knee bent. I'm going to straighten my left leg, and I've got the right leg slightly out to the side, and I'm going to sit breath up, point the toes, squeeze and then release, and again sit breath up, point the toes, squeeze and release, and sit breath up, point the toes, squeeze and release, and sit breath up, point the toes, squeeze and release. So we're going to do that one now where when we're breathing in, we're going to lift the leg as we're breathing in 3 or 4 times, then come to the top, hold, squeeze and then release. And when I say release the toes, I mean just the toes. I don't want you pushing the heel out, so you don't want to track that stretch down the back of the leg. So when you're ready, we'll do 4 on this side. Sit breath in, hold, squeeze, put the toe, release the toes and lower that leg down. And again, sit breath up, put the toes, squeeze and then release. And again, sit breath up, put the toes, squeeze and release down. Last one, sit breath up, put the toes, squeeze and release. Nice. The next exercise is to get into those hip flexors. So Janet, this one's for you. It helps with the sciatic nerve and the glutes. So what you want to do is lift the right leg, place it across the left thigh, so the foot's over the thigh. With your right hand, I want you to spread the fingers wide and have the palm facing the thigh, and you place that hand against the thigh. And when I say contract or squeeze, the left hand goes down on the floor, palm facing up. What you do is, so we sit breath in and then I say resist. So when I say resist, Your hand is pushing your leg away, at the same time it's rolling that muscle inwards. So, and you're trying to draw the leg towards you. So I'll demonstrate, sit breath in, I'll put your hand there, sit breath in, and then resist. So I'm trying to draw that leg towards me, but I'm also holding it at bay with my right hand, and then when I release, I roll the muscle in and I push that leg gently away. Yeah? So I'll demonstrate that once again. I sit breath in, and then I resist, squeeze this left hand, try and draw the leg towards myself, but I'm pushing it away, and then when I release the left hand, and then I gently roll that muscle in on the thigh and push that leg away. You will potentially feel it into that hip area. So set yourself up, and we'll do 4 on each side. So sit, breath in, squeeze the left hand, now resist. Try and draw this thigh towards yourself, but you're holding it at bay, and then release. Release the left hand and push that leg away, rolling the muscle in. Right, 3 more. Sit, breath in, resist, and release. Come back to neutral. Really work on filling that diaphragm. Sit, breath in, resist, and release. 2 more. Sit, breath in, resist, and release. 1 more. Sit, breath in, resist, and release. Nice. Switching sides. You might feel that in here, especially if you have quite tight rotation through your hips. Really good exercise, really good one to do. Okay, swapping sides. Place that left leg so that the leg's lifting on the right, the leg is resting on the right thigh. This hand goes down the side of the body. Drop those shoulders back. Make sure that scoops kind of in that lower back. You want to keep that back, the curve in the back. I want you to take your left hand in again, fingers nice and wide, place them on the thigh, and we're going to sit, breath in, resist, squeeze the hand, try and draw that thigh towards yourself, and then release. Roll the muscle in, push that leg gently away, and again, sit, breath in, resist, and release. 2 more. Sit, breath in, resist, and release. And again, sit, breath in, resist, and release. Nice. Drop that leg down on the floor. So if you find that useful, that's a good one to do a few of every day as well, especially if you're sitting a lot. Just helps get that movement and release through the hips. Okay, for the next one, I want you to lift the feet off the floor and take your hands and make kind of a angle. Place the hands on the outsides of the thigh. And with this one, put that scoop in the lower back. When we sit, breath in, and I say resist, I want you to try and open your legs, but these hands are going to be stopping that from happening. And then when I say release the breath, you allow those legs to open. So that's not a huge sprawl on the floor, that's just a little open. So it's not taking it to the maximum stretch. So we'll do 4 of this one. Sit, breath in, resist. So try and open those legs, but the hands are holding them in place, and then release. Take them a little bit wider. Come back to neutral, sit, breath in, resist, and release. 2 more. Sit, breath in, resist, and release. And again, sit, breath in, resist, and release. Nice. Okay, for this next one, we're going to bring those arms and straighten them. We're going to have them placed between the legs, but I don't want you rolling your shoulders up, so try and keep those shoulders back down on the floor. And our hands are straight between our legs, and we're going to, again, we're going to sit breath in, and when I say resist, this time you're going to try and close your legs, but your arms are going to stop that from happening. And when I say release, your legs are just gently push them open. Again, don't take them as wide as you can. So when you resist, you can squeeze your hands as well if you want. That's up to you. So when you're ready, we'll do 4 here. Sit breath in, resist, and release. And coming back to neutral, sit breath in, resist, and release. And again, sit breath in, resist, and release. One more, sit breath in, resist, and release. Nice. So gently bring those hands, place them around the knees and just rocking from side to side. Give that lower back a bit of a massage, maybe make a circular, going clockwise, and then anti-clockwise. A nice deep breath in and out. Going to do a side stretch. So if you've got a cushion handy, maybe grab it. We're going to take the knees over to the right. So you might want to place that cushion under your knees, or you can place it between the knees. So just depending on how your body's designed, how your flexibility is. You want to keep your shoulders flat on the floor. If you want a deeper stretch, if you know that you've got good movement through the joints and you don't want to put too much pressure, you can place that hand on top of the knee and just gently push those knees together towards the floor. So we're just going to hold this pose. Nice slow breath in, maybe turn the head, look the opposite way over the left shoulder. Putting a twist through the midsection, so it's a bit hard to do the sit breath in this pose. There is an alternative pose in yoga alone that you can do that gives you very similar stretch, and I might show you that on another day. Okay, I'm going to release those knees back up to centre, and we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So roll those knees over, and like I said, maybe place a cushion in between the knees or under the knees if you need to. Keep those shoulders flat. You can place that head on top if you want to just give yourself an extra stretch. Push those knees down towards the floor, and maybe turn your head and look over your shoulder. Get a nice slow deep breath in and out while you're here. You want to really manage the thought process, the busy mind while you're here. Focus on what you can feel. So take notice of where you can feel this pose in the body. Focus on the breath. Notice how it's a bit limited. Okay, I'm going to bring those knees back up to centre. Place the feet on the floor. We're going to take our hands, place them palms facing down, bring them in quite close to the body. Tuck those shoulders up again, tuck that chin down, and I'll demonstrate as we sit breath in, we're going to roll those hips up. So watch what I'm doing. Sit breath in, hold, and then release down. Do you have the option of grabbing a cushion, placing it between the legs? This is quite a good thing to do in this pose. So when we come up to the top, we squeeze the cushion. So when you're ready, we'll do 4 here. Sit breath in, squeeze, hold, and release down. And again, sit breath in, push through the feet as you're lifting up. Lift those hips up, hold, squeeze the cushion, and release. And again, 2 more. Sit breath in, lifting up. Push through the feet, squeeze the cushion, and release down. 1 more. Sit breath in, those shoulder blades tucked under, squeeze, and release. And release that cushion. Okay, we will do a couple more breaths here. Sit, breathe in, squeeze and hold, and release. And again, sit, breathe in, squeeze and hold, and release. Then through those knees, roll off to the side, come up to a sitting position. And I thought we might just lie on our tummies, do Sphinx pose and a couple of push-ups, and then we'll finish the session off. We're coming onto our tummies. Have those elbows sitting under your shoulders. Push the hips into the floor, drop the shoulders down, and Sphinx pose. Really anchor yourself onto the mat. Get a nice breath here, nice stretch down through the front section of the body. You might feel it in the lower back. Puts a little bit of pressure or compression into that lower back. Breathe in, breathe out. If you want to go deeper with this pose, straighten your arms. But be careful that you don't end up all hunched up. So you want to draw those shoulders back and down. That just increases the stretch down through the midsection. Again, anchor those hips into the mat. And releasing down with the shoulders. Thought we'd finish off with a couple of press-ups. So with this, you want to, you haven't got me completely in, you want to keep your feet flat on the mat. I have the couch on this one, and lower down, place your hands under your shoulders, keep your elbows tucked in. And when I say sit, breathe in, you use your weight to push up, but you keep your feet pressed against the mat. So we don't tuck the toes under. It's not a conventional push-up that you'd see people doing in the gym. So we keep those feet flat, and when I say sit, breathe in, sit, breathe up, and hold, and then release down with control. Again, sit, breathe in, sit, breathe up, and then release down. And again, sit, breathe up, and release down. Another way of doing this is to bend through the knees. Keep the feet off the floor, and again we sit, breathe up from here, and hold, and release down. So try a couple more of those. Sit, breathe up, push through those arms, hold, release down. Last one. Sit, breathe up, hold, and release down. We'll finish off the class, just coming into child's pose for a couple of breaths, pushing it up. You can choose whether you want child's pose or embryo. Toes together, take the knees apart, keep the arms bent, maybe have a cushion under your head or your hands, lower down, sit those hips back on the heels. Nice deep breaths in and out. If this is really uncomfortable, you can bring those knees together. Again, something under your head, bring those arms down either side of the legs. Release through the shoulders, relax. Slow breath in and out. Stay here as long as you need. It's a nice relaxing pose. Good one to finish the class off with.
everyone, and I will do a standing session now as well for you.